The NFL's 10th Sunday dawned crystal clear for a select few who are to date among the elite in pro football. The San Diego Chargers are one such team. However, looking at head coach Don Coryell, one might have suspected that his team was about to face the Pittsburgh Steelers instead of the fast-fading Kansas City Chiefs. But when the game had ended, the reason for his concern was evident. Faced by rookie quarterback Steve Fuller, number 4, Kansas City kept the Chargers on the ropes right down to the final minutes, as time and again Fuller rallied the Chiefs to narrow a Charger advantage. But while San Diego bent, they never broke, always keeping Kansas City in a come-from-behind position. For the first time in 5 weeks, Dan Fouts, number 14, did not throw for 300 yards, settling instead for 236. Fouts commands the NFL's number 1 passing attack, and his touchdown strike to John Jefferson gave San Diego their first lead. In the fourth quarter, number 40, Clarence Williams, delivered the winning margin on a short pop, as San Diego held off a persistent and stubborn Kansas City comeback during a 20-14 victory. It was the Chargers' 7th win of the season, but they are not the only team who has spent 1979 constructing a winning habit. The New England Patriots lead the AFC East because their firepower can be overwhelming. When they're hot, they're hot. And last Sunday in Buffalo, both wide receivers Stanley Morgan, number 86, and quarterback Steve Grogan, number 14, were sizzling. Grogan threw for 350 yards, while his main man on long-distance connections of 63 and 34 yards, Stanley Morgan, was a sprinter for which the only adequate defense may have been an air-to-air missile. It was business as usual for the Patriots in a 26-6 win over the Bills. But after 10 weeks, no team appears as awesome as those menacing men in black, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last Sunday, the Washington Redskins had the unfortunate experience of trying to stop the Steeler Express. However, when it was over, it could be said that the Redskins would have had more luck trying to stop a Sherman tank with bows and arrows. The Pittsburgh passing attack never looked finer as Terry Bradshaw spread the wealth of 15 completions around to no less than 8 different receivers. Bradshaw threw for 311 yards and conducted the varied skills of Steelers soloists like Lynn Swann and tight end Benny Cunningham into a powerful Victoria Symphony that rivaled the 1812 Overture. Steeler head coach Chuck Noll has said his team hasn't peaked yet, but last Sunday it would have been difficult to convince the Redskins of this, as Pittsburgh routed Washington 38-7. The Steelers, Patriots, and Chargers have spent 10 weeks proving they are the NFL's best, and it isn't likely that the season's final 6 Sundays will discourage this fact. Who's playing the best defense in pro football right now? You wouldn't be wrong if you said the Denver Broncos. Last week at Mile High Stadium, they completely shackled the high-scoring New Orleans Saints, the NFC's second most productive offense. The Broncos have now gone 8 consecutive quarters without giving up a touchdown. And it's a good thing, too, because against the Saints, Denver could only muster 10 points themselves, 6 of them coming on a Craig Morton to Rick Upchurch touchdown pass. While the scoring was low in Denver's 10-3 victory, in Baltimore, the point production was higher than the prime interest rate, where the Colts and Bengals traded touchdowns in a wild scoring spree. The Colts jumped out to a 14-0 lead, but the Bengals stormed back on the arm of quarterback Ken Anderson and receivers like rookie Dan Ross, number 89. The big star for the Bengals, however, was wide receiver Isaac Curtis, number 85, who ended a long dry spell with one of his best performances ever. 5 catches for nearly 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. But even with this prolific passing attack, the Bengals could not win. The Colts scored more often and in a variety of ways, such as number 47 Larry Brazile's touchdown return after an interception. It all meant a 38-28 final, Baltimore's 4th straight win after 6 consecutive losses. The Colts have been able to set their season on a new course with this winning streak, but this has not been the case for the San Francisco 49ers. Last week in the Bay Area Bowl against Oakland, the Niners actually outrushed and outpassed the Raiders, but did not outscore them, as San Francisco went down for the 9th time this year. The reason for their defeat was 6 costly turnovers, plus an occasional big play from the Oakland special teams. The biggest was a 70-yard kickoff return from number 82, Larry Brunson. Given good field position, Oakland quarterback Ken Stabler had little trouble moving the ball, firing 2 scores to wide receiver Cliff Branch, number 21. Oakland won 23-10 to remain 1 game out of first in the AFC West, and they are sure they'll soon be in the lead, even if they aren't sure just exactly how to punctuate a touchdown drive. Only Detroit has as bad a record as the 49ers, and they kept pace for that dubious distinction last week by falling to the Chicago Bears. The key play of the game was a 77-yard punt return by number 85, Steve Schubert. Schubert has had at least 1 punt return for a touchdown in each of the last 3 seasons. The Bears found other ways to score as well: a run, a pass, and an interception return from number 44, Terry Schmidt. Toss in another 100-yard day for Walter Payton and a strong defensive effort, and it spelled a big victory for the Bears, who now trail the NFC Central leaders Tampa Bay by only 2 games. The Bucs got off to a good start last week against Atlanta when quarterback Doug Williams found his favorite target, wide receiver Morris Owens, number 85. But this was about all the offense the Bucs could muster until the end of the game. In the meantime, the Falcons, who desperately needed a win, seized the opportunities when they presented themselves. Number 27, Tom Pridemore's alert fumble recovery set up a field goal. Then the Falcons scored twice in the last period, including a 60-yard bolt from Bubba Bean. It was the longest run in Bean's professional career. Atlanta came out on top 17-14 to pull within a game of the NFC Western League. The St. Louis Cardinals have had a disastrous year with one notable exception. Rookie O.J. Anderson, number 32, has more than lived up to advance expectations, and his 164 yards against the Minnesota Vikings gave him the tidy sum of 1,000 for the season. The beleaguered Vikings have not been able to stem the steady flow of points scored against them, and a non-existent pass rush allowed the Cardinals to score almost at will. While the threat of Anderson sets up the St. Louis passing game, the Vikings possess no such weapon, so they were forced to pass 49 times, a strategy that resulted in dire consequences. The Cardinals' easy 37-7 victory was yet another broadside in the season that has seen Viking playoff hope shattered by a barrage of direct hits. With the stunning exception of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the NFC Central is charitably a division of mediocrity. Here, game stories are chapters of gloom spiced by a few memorable sentences. Thus, Andre Thompson's 100-yard kickoff return became the shining moment for the Packers in their game with the New York Jets. The Packers could have won this game, but like almost always, they did not. At critical moments, they broke down, and their end zone opened up for the opportunistic Jets. The Jets passed effectively, but ran far better as their blockers annihilated the worst team in the NFC against the rush. Here, a lead block by setback Scott Durking on number 53, Mike Douglas, coupled with Chris Ward's demolition of number 50, Rich Wingo, sent Clark Gaines freewheeling for 52 yards. .246 yards rushing and Richard Todd's few but damaging passes did in the Packers 27-22. Wearing his great Sphinx of Giza look, stone-faced Jack Patera hoped his Seahawks would take wing against the faltering Rams. Instead, his fledglings fell flat on their beaks. For the first time in many weeks, Los Angeles played like the team that has dominated the NFC West for 6 consecutive seasons. In the first half, they ran and passed at will and devoured a generous Seattle defense. Although Elvis Peacock's extraordinary odyssey through the Seahawks was called back by penalty, it mattered little as Los Angeles scored 3 other touchdowns in the first half. Quarterback Pat Hayden threw a pair of 6-pointers to Charlie Young, number 86, and Drew Hill, number 87. Ironically, the first 30 minutes also proved ruinous to the Rams, for amidst the jubilation, they lost Hayden and running back Wendell Tyler with serious injuries. However, the manner in which the Rams defense handled the explosive Seahawks proved historic. Safeties like number 42, Dave Elmendorf, faked blitzes and confused blocking patterns to the point where quarterback Jim Zorn was sacked 6 times. Moreover, the Rams held Seattle to 1 first down and incredibly limited them to a -7 yards in total offense, an NFL record. Thus humbled, Seattle not only lost the game 24-0, but the great bubble of promise has finally burst in the Pacific Northwest. The high-powered Cleveland Browns, an explosive unit with the AFC's second-ranked offense, visited Veterans Stadium last week, but attention was focused on the Eagles' Harold Carmichael, number 17. One of the league's most consistent receivers, Carmichael needed a catch against the Browns to mark the 106th straight game in which he has caught at least one pass, an NFL record. With the milestone safely tucked away, Carmichael and company turned their efforts to halting the Eagles' two-game losing streak. His catch of a Ron Jaworski pass completed a textbook 14-play drive that consumed close to 9 minutes. Cleveland quarterback Brian Sipe, number 17, the NFL leader in touchdown passes, displayed his specialty to Reggie Rucker as the Browns and Eagles matched first quarter scores. Then Philadelphia turned to its strength, ball control, and that means Wilbert Montgomery, number 31. Held to 58 yards in the Eagles' last two defeats, Montgomery exploded for an NFL season-high 197 yards, including this 62-yard touchdown. But Montgomery's recent tendency to fumble plagued him again, sparking the never say die Browns. With 55 seconds remaining, number 43, Mike Pruitt, capped a 104-yard performance with a 24-yard touchdown run. Once again, Cleveland prevailed in the closing minutes, 24-19. For the Eagles, their third straight loss dropped them 2 off the lead in the NFC East. The pace setter in the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, met the revitalized New York Giants. While Harvey Martin remembered Pittsburgh's manslaughter, Tom Landry seemed bemused by the situation. Landry's sentiments quickly changed. A fired-up Giant defense stymied the Cowboys' multifaceted offense for 3+ quarters, while rookie Phil Simms, number 11, continued his poised play at quarterback. This Simms pass to Johnny Perkins, number 86, accounted for the only touchdown through 3 quarters and a 7-6 Giants lead. The Cowboys' attack generated little for the second straight week. When Roger Staubach did find openings in the Giant defense, sure-handed receivers like number 88 Drew Pearson were manhandled. With 9 minutes left in the game, Phil Simms found Billy Taylor for his second touchdown pass of the day. And it seemed that Giants' superiority over the class of the NFC was assured. But as Drew Pearson said, the human element in the game came into play. With defeat close at hand, Dallas gained 158 yards in its last 13 offensive plays. This Roger Staubach to Drew Pearson touchdown cut the margin to 1. The psychological edge now belonged to the Cowboys. After Doomsday denied the Giants, Staubach and the shotgun carried out a classic 2-minute drill. Tony Dorsett, number 33, held to 36 yards rushing, caught 2 passes in the final drive. This 32-yard catch and carry by Dorsett brought the Cowboys' 12th man into the picture, Rafael Septien. With 3 seconds remaining, Septien coolly split the uprights. for a 16-14 win. Septien's pressure field goal reinforced Dallas's greatness. On a day when precious little went right for the Cowboys, they nonetheless emerged victorious. In the midst of their annual mid-season snooze, Dallas still increased their division lead to 2 games. For the improving Giants, a game well played provided no consolation.